look at medicinal root. Look at everyone. There's Cal, Dees, Anemone. Tangent cut her hair. And after the last attack-ring glow, the fields got torn up pretty badly, so I should help my parents with that this month. Cal waves at you as you enter the garden, leaning on his shovel. Hey, Solanna, he calls, but his eyes look past you, down the path to where Anemone is beating the absolute tar out of a training dummy. Her fierce battle cries echo across the colony, making Cal wince. She's been going totally hard lately, huh? He says. He scratches his face, smearing dirt across his cheek. She asked me yesterday if I wanted to spar with her. She said it would be good for self-defense. Cal smiles sadly at the memory. I told her I don't want to fight. Not her, not a training dummy, not anything on this planet for real. I've never seen her get so mad at me. She called me a baby and told me I'm just gonna end up forcing everyone to protect me because I'm weak or helpless or whatever. You are not weak. You're really strong, actually. He seems upset and stabs the ground a few times with his shovel. I just don't think it's right to fight anyone, especially the Xenos. They were here first. He says, what do you think, Solanna? I mean, yeah, they were here first, but sometimes we don't have a choice. Jeez, you sound like an adult, Cal grumps. They always tell us to see both sides of an argument, but I tried, and it just... He shrugs. I just think if you have to hurt someone to get what you need, you don't deserve to have it. But what if your family's in danger? I mean, that's totally scary, but you kind of shouldn't be putting your loved ones in situations where they could be in danger in the first place. I mean, yeah, but what if our life depends on it? How's that fair? Their life depends on it too, Cal retorts. You can't just decide that you get to live and they don't. But what if they attack first? Cal throws his arms up in disgust. If something attacks you first, you probably did something wrong. Maybe you shouldn't keep going places where things want to attack you. I mean, yeah, I guess. Cal looks relieved. I'm glad you think so too. Sometimes I think about the Xeno I had to kill the first time they attacked. Like, obviously I'm glad I'm alive, duh, but now it's dead. His eyes go back to Anemone. She stops sparring with the training dummy and is looking up at the gardeners as she has a drink. Neither she nor Cal wave at each other. It was an accident. I didn't mean to kill it, Cal continues quietly. It just happened. I wish I could tell it I'm sorry. Cal clenches his fist. There's gotta be a way to figure out how to live in peace with all the cool things that live on this planet, he says. Like, hey, look at this weed I saw growing over here. Cal has such strong convictions. It's one of the things you like best about him, even if some people disagree with him. You spend a few hours with Cal in the garden as he shows off the area that he's getting ready for the next planting season. The adults are really starting to trust him with more planning as he gets older. He beams with pride. When you finally head out, you're just as dirty as he is, but you feel so much lighter. Well, I mean, I guess let's help my parents. Your mom loves to give long biology lectures while the two of you move dirt. We're very lucky that Vertumnal soil is more or less resembles Earth's already, she explains. It has a few harmful salts or heavy metals that would be poisonous to people, like many planets in the Sol system. And most life on Vertumna is carbon-based, just like on Earth, and the atmosphere contains about the same breathable mix of nitrogen and oxygen, which is why we chose it. She frowns and leans on her shovel. But the soil is more acidic, more dense, and contains less calcium and nitrogen. Not quite enough. Your mom smiles while she works. Well, you know we're mostly made of carbon, and that we breathe oxygen, but nitrogen? Usually in the form of ammonia or nitrate, is another basic building block of our cells. It's in our DNA, RNA, and amino acids. She gestures at the sky. Vertumnal plants can absorb nitrogen from the air, but Earth plants and humans can't. It needs to be fixed into the soil. That's usually done with bacteria called diazotrophs, which take atmospheric nitrogen and turn it into ammonia, which Earth plants can absorb through their roots. The soil on Vertumna has plenty of phosphorus and potassium, but less nitrogen. We don't know why. Where are the diazotrophs? Why isn't the nitrogen left behind by decaying plants like it is on Earth? If you keep studying, maybe you can figure it out someday. Yeah. Your mom hums. Vertumnal soil has a high acidity, she explains. The pH is around 3 or 4, making plant roots less efficient at absorbing nutrients. For example, corn and rice need a pH of 6. Even acid-tolerant blueberries need a pH of at least 4.5. We went through a lot of calcium carbonate when we were setting up the gardens, mostly from limestone. Limestone on Earth is made of coral or shellfish, but we haven't found any here yet. She wipes her brow. We have to use calcium oxide from wood ash. It helps bring the pH up a little, making the soil more alkaline. That's really cool. Your mom says. Did I ever tell you about everything we lost during the wormhole accident? I didn't want you to worry, but in addition to a lot of our food supply, we also lost one very important geoponics cache, our compost. You look around. Big deal? Vertumna is covered with dirt. Yeah, it is. Our compost houses precious diatotrophs and other bacteria, those tiny organisms that break down plant matter and pull nitrogen from the air into nutrients Earth plants can absorb. They don't exist here on Vertumna. Only a small amount of Earth soil survived. She sighs. Now we need to help those bacteria multiply and spread, converting all this useless red Vertumnan dirt into the dark, nitrogen-rich soil Earth plants like to grow in. So that's what we're doing now. Yeah. Oh. Okay. It's your birthday. You wake up from a night of blissful, peaceful dreams. No nightmares, no premonitions. It's just a pleasant feeling of contentment. You stretch your arms over your head, blinking in the watery, quiet sunlight that seeps through the porthole window. Things are always changing on Vertumna, but you can't help but feel like things are changing for yourself too. Not just your body, but your mind, your emotions, your future. 14 is going to be your year. Your parents have been working hard around the clock since the last attack, trying to get the fields right again in time for this year's planting. Spark snow has already started falling, and every day they come home complaining about having to clear it. They ask you to ping them when you're awake so you can share your birthday breakfast in your quarters instead of sitting shoulder to shoulder with everyone else during breakfast service in the canteen. You fire them a message and lie back in your bunk watching dust motes float lazily in the light. After a minute, there's a knock. It's Auntie Sedent. She sweeps into your room in a bustle of skirts and shawls and sits down beside you on your bunk. Oh, look at you, she says. Happy birthday, beautiful 14 years old. She leans in and gives you a motherly kiss on the forehead. It's been years since she took care of you in the children's creche, but all the children still call her Auntie and think of her as a close relative. Her sweet baking bread smell is comforting as it ever was. She sits back and takes one of your hands in both of hers. Solanna, ever since I held you in my arms as a baby, I knew you were special. So important. You're becoming a young woman, and I want you to know I will always be here for you, just like your mom and dad, she says firmly. I don't want to grow up. Auntie Sedent smiles sadly. I'm sorry, little snapdragon, but growing up is part of living. I can't wait for you to grow into the strong, smart, courageous adult I can see behind your eyes. She pats your hand. I'll always be your auntie, but when you're ready, you can call me Anne like the other adults too. Thanks, Auntie Sedent. Now, come on in here, Auntie Sedent says, spreading her arms wide. Give us a great big hug. You hug her, enveloping yourself in the warm, familiar softness of her. Over her shoulder, you see Anemone standing in the doorway. Well, her hair anyway. She's been growing it out, and there's no hiding behind a corner. She skips into your quarters. Happy birthday, bud, she says, bouncing on your bunk. Way to get older. Enjoy being 2 years older than me for a few months. Thanks. It's good you're both here, Auntie says. Now that you've both been menstruating for about a year. Anemone makes a face and mutters, yuck. But Auntie continues, you're both eligible for the cessation implant. Among other things, it will prevent the bleeding and pain, an emotional roller coaster of your monthly cycle. Mom! Anemone hollers, gross, do you have to tell everybody about my cycle? I just don't want to get pregnant, okay? Girl, you are 14 or 12. Auntie laughs. Well, yes, that is the among other things part, but I don't expect you to be needing that part for a few years yet, right? Right. Anemone looks disgusted by the prospect, or maybe just by her mom talking about it. Gross. Right? Anemone agrees. She's always like this. You think this is bad? When I got my period, she made a cake with a red gooey center that said, "Welcome to the womanhood." She rolls her eyes. It's bad enough I, shot up overnight and got boobs and want to cry all the time. She has to go around telling everyone too? Your parents finally arrive, still damp from the fields, and bringing in the smell of crisp, tangy snow on their clothes. "Oh, look, birthday visitors," your dad exclaims. "Anne, are you staying for breakfast?" Auntie reaches into her bag and brings out a stack of Tiftons. "No, thank you, but I brought your order with me from the kitchen, seeing as I was stopping by." She pats you on the hand one more time. "Happy birthday again, Selena. You'll always be my baby, even when you're all grown up." Your mom shakes her head as Auntie and Anemone leave. "Oh, Anne," she laughs, sentimental to the core. She starts laying out the cutlery for breakfast. "But I don't know how the colonies would manage without her or the children's creche," she says and points the fork at you. "Family is more than people who birthed you, Selena, and don't you forget that." "Oh, I won't." And I guess we will go talk to Tammy and see what she has to say next time.